Yeah. So I saw a tweet. I really liked how they put this. They said THORChain isn't THORChain without Monero, and that really resonated with me.
Yes.
I like that a lot, um, and I really think that this is where we can press our edge, right? And so I might have come up with this. I don't know. Maybe I heard it and didn't remember it, but like I might have come up with like, something like to say is decentralization doesn't matter until it does.
Right.
And so THORChain, we were the first to cross chain swaps, but then there's, other protocols now that can do the same thing. And they have been winning volume over THORChain because they're able to give a better swap experience to users. However, they do that without being as decentralized and without being as permissionless as THORChain, right? And so, because we stand on those values, being decentralized, being permissionless, we are losing in the execution game, which is fine. I'd rather stand on those values, but those same values, that's where our edge is.
Right.
And I think that's also makes sense. That's where we should press our edge. And so if we're gonna lean into that original cypherpunk OG, ethos of sovereignty, autonomy, freedom, privacy, Monero is those things, and it's been delisted from almost every major exchange. And because the state doesn't want it, right? They don't want privacy. They want to tax you. And
Yes.
here's a little flag. We can revisit this, but I really recommend the book "The Sovereign Individual," and there's a lot to be discussed there. Um, and so, and no, as far as I know, no other like DEX in the cross chain space does Monero. So like that should be that's where we can press our edge. Like that's something that the other protocols either can't or won't do. And so rather than try to compete them on time, which we probably can't without sacrificing our values or whatever, this is where we do have the advantage. So it's like you play to your strengths, not your weaknesses. And um yeah, I think privacy is a fundamental right in face of increasing, surveillance and tyranny from the state. I think it's very important. Um, and if finance does move on chain, you don't want to expose your net worth when you buy a coffee, and so you need
Yes.
privacy protocols in order to be able to do that. Um, and yeah, so that's why I think XMR is should be THORChain's number one priority. We should play to our strengths.
I agree. I think this is excellently said. And a lot of people are nervous, right? Because
Oh,
they
of course,
say
yeah.
like, and they say we're not. This is not the time to do it. And I look at them and say, okay, but if this is not the time, then when is the time? Okay. Have you looked at the world recently? Is it getting better or worse? It seems to be getting a lot worse at a pretty rapid pace. This is not something that we're ever going to get the okay from any government to do. We're never going to get a green light. We're never going to say, is this fine to do this? We just got to do it. And I say we need to do it as soon as possible. This is the moment. Like, I think a very important skill is to recognize the moment that you're in. You have to abstract away any narcissistic, inclinations, any thoughts, any romanticized ideas. Just keep it logic based. Keep the first principles in your mind. What is the moment? What is happening right now? And very dark things are happening right now, right? You alluded to earlier in the conversation, surveillance state, right? More dystopian rules. I mean, this is kind of an American thing, but when our country was founded, we didn't have the income tax, we didn't have estate tax, we didn't have capital gains, we didn't have unrealized capital gains, which is happening in Europe right now, which is the most insane thing, right? Like it's ridiculous, right? The we have to have privacy. We must give people the ability to protect themselves because ultimately, Boone, like we have the winning argument here, right? I always say all the time, KYC means kill your customer. KYC is dangerous. It is objectively a bad thing. People need to be private on chain, like you just alluded to. And so, if people are afraid, I understand, but this is what we got to do, right? This isn't our mandate, isn't to make money. Our mandate is liberty. Our mandate is to our original ethos. And like you said, I would rather sacrifice a competitive advantage so long as we keep core to our ethos. And because we did keep core to our ethos, it's more complicated. It takes more time to develop, but the first principles are so much stronger for us because, again, the decentralization doesn't matter until it does, to your point exactly, right? So that's my opinion on it. I say sooner we can add Monero, the better.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard deal, man. So I don't like to talk about myself a lot because it's more like you think, but I just think if people truly understood how evil these people are, the lizards, whatever you want to call them, these globalists, whatever you want to say, whatever category you want, I don't care what category you are. These people do not care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care anyone besides their own agenda. And so it's up to us, man. So I'm really glad that you made that argument because I want people to understand like we don't have a choice. Forget it. Forget the risk, forget the cost benefit analysis. I legitimately we do not have a choice. This must be done. So, yes sir.